I was born in 1945 in the west of Ireland, but I was brought up in England. And when I left school, I joined the army, and I was in the army for 10 years. And I felt God was nagging at me to become a priest. I thought that he wanted me to become a priest, but I didn't particularly want to become a priest. And then I left the army, and for 5 years I taught. I taught in Manchester. I taught at the LaSalle School. And still God was nagging away at me. And then one day, a missionary came to the school and talked about vocations and the priesthood and missionary work. And I thought, well, maybe God has tracked me down, and this is the time to step forward. So I volunteered. And I did just 4 years. Just did 4 years at a year in Holland, and then 3 years in Mill Hill. And I was ordained in 1984. Some people say I was a late vocation. I prefer to say a mature vocation. A mature vocation. So I was 38 when I was ordained a priest. Okay. Okay, so now on to China. Yeah. Okay. So in 2007, I heard of an organization called ATESH, Association for International Teaching Exchange and Curriculum Exchange, run by the Columban missionaries, and its headquarters was in Hong Kong. And it helped Christians to go abroad and to teach in China. You'd go to university and you'd teach spoken English. So you went into the classroom, and what you had to do is to talk and to encourage the other people to talk, the students to talk. There'd be about 30 to 40 students in the classroom. First of all, then I went to Hong Kong, and we had an introductory course, told what to do and what not to do, how to behave so that we weren't expelled from the country or whatever. And then I went off to a place called Changchun. Changchun. It's Changchun University, Science and Technology. And it's in northeast China, Jilin province, if any of you know anything about China. Borders on North Korea, borders on Russia, and it's very secure because of those borders. In when I got there, I met the other recruits, those others who were teaching for ATESH, and made friends with them. And they were teaching in some in the place I was teaching, and in various schools and universities around the place. This university that I was teaching in had a hotel where it accommodated foreign teachers, foreign students of the Chinese language. China was inviting in a lot of foreigners to learn Chinese, so they could be the contact people when they wanted to do business with that particular country. The climate in northeast China is called a continental climate, very extremes. In the summer, +40, in the winter, -40. So there are 4 or 5 months with snow and ice. The rivers would be frozen, and there would be bitterly cold weather. And I always felt sorry for the students, those who were studying Chinese from warm countries, because they really suffered during the winter. So I had a room in the hotel with the other foreign students and foreign teachers, and I would always eat in the students' cafe. And there I would sit down, and they'd recognize me, the students would recognize me and come, and they'd chat with me and improve their English. And I became quite good with chopsticks. I found that I could handle chopsticks quite well. And I found I was better than some others with chopsticks. One was encouraged to eat with the right hand, and of course left-handed people sometimes found it a bit difficult. So I found myself doing a better job, getting the food faster than those left-handed people who were forced to use their right hand. As you probably know, there was lots of great variety of dishes, and eating was always a very pleasant experience. In Changchun, there was a cathedral, or there is a cathedral, a Catholic cathedral. It belonged to the Patriotic Church, and I used to go to Mass in English at the Patriotic Church every Sunday, and there were other foreigners there as well, foreign students, foreign businessmen, foreign teachers. Many of those who didn't speak English as the first language, but they knew English, so they could go along and have Mass in a language they understood, as opposed to listening to Mass in Chinese. And so I met a lot of people from different countries, Russia, many African countries, South America, all over the place. It was lovely. After 2 months, the Chinese priest who was saying Mass, he said he was leaving to go abroad, and he asked me to celebrate the Mass every Sunday in English. I got quite a shock. But the bishop had studied in France, and I spoke French, so I could chat to him in French. And he said it would be all right. It'd be okay. I wouldn't get into trouble. And so for 5 years, every Sunday I celebrated Mass in English. And it was lovely to see the mixture of nationalities and different denominations coming, different Christian denominations, and some Orthodox would come to that Mass in order to celebrate in English. And friendships developed. After Mass, at the end of Mass, I would always say, you're all invited to go to a local cafe and have a meal together. And most of them would go and would just fill the cafe, we'd sit down, chat. And this impressed on me that the Mass should be not just a kind of reconciliation with God, but friendship between us. You know, there are two beams to the cross. The vertical beam reconciling us with our Father in heaven, and the horizontal beam stretching out, being reconciled to our brothers and sisters. And often our Masses are very much kind of centered on kind of worshipping God. And you can go into Mass on a Sunday, try to talk to someone, and someone else will say, shoo, shoo, how dare you talk to someone else? You know, God's over there, just talk to God. And the same at the end of Mass. People might start to chat at the end of Mass, and again, we told to shut up. And I felt something was missing. I do feel in the first Eucharist that was celebrated, it was a kind of communal gathering, mixing, talking, friendship. If someone was missing, why isn't so-and-so there? What's happened to him? Let's look him up. Nowadays, I've heard people saying they've been to Mass for months in the same church and never ever spoken to anyone. So that was a great experience, chatting together, sharing, caring, and there was no kind of disapproval if you chatted to someone next to you. You didn't have people say to you, I've come here to talk to God, not to you, shut up. I travelled around the country in holiday times with my students. They'd invite me to their homes, they'd help me to kind of to visit different places, Beijing, to go and see the terracotta warriors. I went to Inner Mongolia, and I went to Shanghai, and it was great. In the evenings, they'd come to my room, they'd cook a meal for me, and we'd play charades, and we'd play with Scrabble, and it was all to improve their English. There was a convent close by, and I visited a convent several times and met the Chinese nuns. And overall, I had a great time. There are couples who got married, couples who met there, the Masses and the meals we had there, and they got married, and that's wonderful. I'm still in touch with some of them. There's a German businessman who married one of my students who came to Mass with me, and they're now living in Germany. Another student of mine married an American teacher who was teaching English over there. She married him and is now living in the States. And so I'm in touch with those different people.